Another incredible year is coming to an end. 2024 gave us hundreds of spectacular fights, dozens of new champions, and a whole list of historic events. Alexander Usyk became the first undisputed heavyweight champion in the four-belt era. Artur Beterbiev achieved the same feat in the light heavyweight division, and Naoya Inoue completely cleaned out his weight class and is about to have an earth-shattering fight with Junto Nakatani. Besides all of this, 2024 was also rich in shocking upsets, and today I'll tell you about the biggest ones. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Number 8. Adrian Curiel, Sivanati Nontshinga, plus 120. Unexpectedly, our list begins with a title fight in the flyweight division. On February 16th, in Oaxaca, Mexico, two young and highly promising fighters clashed for the IBF belt, local boxer Adrian Curiel and South African native Sivanati Nontshinga. Just 3 months prior, these two had already faced off. The Mexican, not known for his knockout power, managed to stop his opponent in just 1.5 rounds.
Tremendous right hand from Adrian Curiel.
Adrian's victory was both a sensation and a disappointment for the organizers, who had been doing everything possible to promote the African knockout artist. To restore justice, an immediate rematch was arranged, with Sivanati entering as the underdog.
Can't wait for the big day, bro.
In true Mexican style, Adrian pressed his opponent against the ropes and attacked with multi-punch combinations. His punches may not have been the strongest, but there were so many of them that the special one barely had time to breathe. Occasionally, the Mexican would take short breaks, allowing Sivanati to land some solid counterpunches, including a heavy uppercut. However, these efforts were insufficient, and Curiel dominated up to the 9th round. But just before the bell, the African unexpectedly stunned his opponent with a left hook, and after the break, unleashed a brutal combination to finish the fight in spectacular fashion. Number 7. Otabek Holmatov, Raymond Ford, plus 140. 2024 was a triumphant year for Uzbek boxers. At the Paris Olympics, the national team won gold in 5 out of 7 men's weight categories, crushing all competitors with a commanding lead. Among professionals, many also showcased their high level. Former super bantamweight champion Murodjon Akhmadaliev knocked out a dangerous prospect with a 26-0 record.
There's the uppercut. This kid is beaten down. Stop the fight.
And Israel Madrimov had an incredibly close and even match against the most talented boxers of our time, Terence Crawford. Indeed, Uzbekistan had many victories over the past year, but unfortunately, there's always a fly in the ointment. This time, it was the fight between Otabek Holmatov and Raymond Ford. On March 2nd, the young and undefeated Otabek entered a WBA title bout against a strong but less skilled American nicknamed Savage. Many experts believed the southpaw knockout artist would confidently defeat Ford, but Raymond had his own plans. The fight was back and forth, with the initiative changing hands almost every round. In the final minutes, Raymond was winning by a small margin, but decided not to leave it to the judges. He stunned and then finished Holmatov with just 7 seconds left before the bell.
It paid off. Finally, the fight is over. I'm a world champion now. I really couldn't believe it. It's a dream come true.
Number 6. Shavkatzon Rakhimov, Eduardo Nunez, plus 180. Moving up the weight class from the featherweight division, we come to a title clash between Shavkatzon Rakhimov and Eduardo Nunez. You may not be familiar with these names, but trust me, they're worth your attention. The 30-year-old Shavkatzon, hailing from Tajikistan, made a name for himself as a solid contender in the amateurs. When he turned pro, his potential was realized to the fullest. Over 8 years, Rakhimov fought 18 times, winning 17 of those bouts, and even became an IBF champion, only losing his belt in a controversial split decision against Cordina. This first defeat led him to take a year-long break, returning this February to face Eduardo Nunez. The Mexican with a 25-1 record was known for his extraordinary physical strength, finishing all of his opponents and posing a potential threat to anyone in the division. Despite this, experts gave Nunez little chance with odds of plus 200. Rakhimov started confidently, moving smartly, controlling the center of the ring and keeping his opponent at a comfortable distance. Eduardo struggled to get close to a southpaw with a great jab, and he took a lot of hits, although he occasionally landed some impressive counterhooks. Up until the 5th round, everything was going in Rakhimov's favor, but then Nunez ramped up the pace. He stopped backing into the ropes, came forward with unshakable confidence and unleashed fierce combinations. Some punches were blocked, others dodged, but the barrage continued, and eventually the former champion began to fall apart. By the 11th round, the Tajik fighter was battered and exhausted, while Nunez, seemingly tireless, pounded him relentlessly with granite fists until the referee finally intervened. Number 5. Cordina, Anthony Cacace, plus 420. On May 18th, under the sunny skies of Riyadh, one of the biggest fights of the year took place. Alexander Usyk delivered a phenomenal performance, defeating Tyson Fury to become the first boxer since the legendary Evander Holyfield to conquer both the cruiserweight and heavyweight divisions. While Usyk's victory over the Gypsy King was sensational, it wasn't the first upset of the evening. Hours before the heavyweight champions stepped into the ring, two elite super featherweight fighters clashed in a memorable bout. Welsh IBF champion Cordina defended his belt against the skillful but aging Irishman Anthony Cacace, the IBO title holder. Cordina, undefeated and in peak form, was supposed to beat Cacace in a one-sided fashion whose odds were estimated at plus 420. From the first round, it was clear the fighters had vastly different mindsets. Cordina aimed to play it safe, keeping his distance and cautiously exchanging shots from a high guard. Cacace, however, was determined to engage in an intense battle, throwing a lot of heavy punches. This approach paid off.
Generally speaking, a lot less energy, but nice.
Cordina to try and make Cacace feel his 35 years.
Good body.
In the 3rd round, Cacace fed Cordina quite a few uppercuts before dropping him with a powerful straight right.
Got 2-3, and down goes Cordina.
The Welshman barely managed to get back on his feet and tried to recover, but the Irishman was too good on that night. For the next 4 rounds, Cacace chased his opponent around the ring, landing multi-punch combinations and eventually finished him against the ropes. Number 4. Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, plus 420. Here we have one of the most talked about upsets of the year. Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois, a fight that proved once again that the heavyweight division operates by its own rules. When the bout was officially announced, most of us had similar thoughts. Dubois is good, sure, and he's beaten a couple of solid guys recently, but AJ will pick him apart. They're on completely different levels. Indeed, from early 2023 until his fight with Dynamite, Joshua had been on a roll, fighting 4 times, securing 3 knockouts, and looking like a worthy challenger for the winner of Usyk versus Fury. It seems like Joshua was experiencing a second prime in his career, and a victory over Dubois was just a matter of a few rounds. Dubois came out guns blazing. The powerful knockout artist wasted no time with a feeling out process or long-distance exchanges. He knew he had to land his big punch, and that's exactly what happened. In the first round, Dubois unleashed a devastating right overhand, sending Joshua crashing to the canvas. If not for the bell, it's safe to say the monstrous puncher would have finished the wounded veteran right there and then. But Joshua got lucky. Or did he? In the second round, Dubois continued battering the Brit with heavy hooks and scored 2 more knockdowns in the third.
Joshua can't get off the ropes and the referee dives in with...
The referee only counted 1 of the falls, but Dubois' dominance was undeniable. The brutal beatdown continued until the 5th round, when Joshua unexpectedly hurt Dubois with a clean shot.
There. Oh, big right from Joshua, what a shot! Dubois wobbling!
Sensing an opportunity, Joshua charged forward, but a vicious counter right from Dubois put him down on the canvas for good.
Oh, down he goes! Absolutely flattened! What a shot! Anthony Joshua face down at Wembley after he landed his best punch. He's going to be counted out by Marcus McDonald.
Number 3. Ismael Barroso, O'Hara Davis, plus 430. Remember Roland Rolly Romero? Yes, the trash-talking fighter who tried to rile up Gervonta Davis, which he paid for in brutal fashion. Back then, Davis knocked Rolly out so badly that it forced the latter to move up in weight. Not long after his transition, Romero somehow was given a title shot against the aging Venezuelan veteran Ismael Barroso. Turns out, in his very next fight, Barroso faced another young prospect, O'Hara Davis, who boasted a record of 25-2 for the WBA interim belt. While promoters dreamed of making Davis their next star, the forgotten Barroso quietly prepared to pull off one of the year's craziest upsets. Davis easily took control of the center of the ring, slowly but surely pressuring Barroso towards the ropes. It seemed like Davis was in complete control, reading every move of his opponent, but his first defensive move proved disastrous. Barroso capitalized immediately, countering with a thunderous left cross that wobbled the Brit. Just a few punches more and the prospect was flat on the canvas. His eyes showed how disoriented he was, but the referee allowed the fight to continue. Barroso wasted no time, pouncing on Davis and finishing him with a flurry of heavy punches.
Davis is out of it! And that is it! Sweet justice!
Number 2. Tszyu Murtazaliev, plus 440. Unfortunately, not all prospects can handle the competition at the top level. At the end of 2023, Tszyu remained undefeated with a 24-0 record and held the WBO title. By then, the son of the legendary Kostya Tszyu had already tested himself against a few solid ranked opponents, but was still considered relatively green. His next step was supposed to be a fight with the experienced Keith Thurman, but the veteran withdrew due to a biceps injury, leaving Tszyu to face a new opponent in Sebastian Fundora. The tall, lanky Fundora gave Tszyu plenty of trouble and ultimately defeated him via a split decision, which was a major upset. Many dismissed his loss as a fluke, believing Tim would bounce back in his next fight. It happened to be a fight against the undefeated IBF champion from Russia, Murtazaliev. Despite his impressive record, analysts saw Murtazaliev as an underdog with odds of plus 440. The fight began with both men trading vicious shots, neither willing to give an inch of the ring. But by the second round, Tszyu's chin started to fail him. In just 4 minutes, Murtazaliev sent the Australian to the canvas 4 times, and after the break, Tszyu's corner had no choice but to throw in the towel. Bonus: Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, plus 680. In my humble opinion, the Garcia vs Haney fight perfectly embodies the word upset. Let's recall the lead up to the fight. Devin Haney entered with a 31-0 record, the status of a former undisputed lightweight champion, and an easy victory over top fighter Regis Prograis in his new 140-pound division. Meanwhile, Ryan Garcia had just barely bounced back from his loss to Gervonta Davis, struggling to get past the solid but far from elite Oscar Duarte. That alone was enough to make Garcia the clear underdog in a potential matchup with Haney. but things got even crazier. Before the fight, the Flash began spouting nonsense about the Illuminati, Bohemian Grove, and child abuse. He missed weight and, even worse, was seen drinking beer in front of fans just hours before the fight. By this point, everyone assumed Garcia would be annihilated and Haney would finally secure a rare stoppage victory. But who could have predicted what actually happened? Garcia battered, dropped, and utterly humiliated Haney. The Dream ate every left hook Garcia threw, hitting the canvas 3 times, while the referee did everything possible to prevent Garcia from finishing his prey. Haney barely survived to hear the final bell and rightfully lost by decision. Of course, Garcia was later accused of steroid use and the fight result was overturned, but we all know who was really behind that, right? Number 1. Lerone Richards, Steed Woodall, plus 950. And here we are at the number 1 spot. Today we've seen plenty of shocking finishes from fighters who by all accounts should have lost but managed to win through sheer determination or luck. But none of them came close to our champion, Steed Woodall. Woodall debuted as a professional in 2014 and over 10 years had just 20 fights. Moreover, nearly all of his victories were against opponents with losing or at least best neutral records. As for his losses, there were only 2, but what losses they were! The legend was beaten by Steve Rolls and Patrick McCrory, both of whom were later dismantled by Edgar Berlanga. Now that you're familiar with Steed, you can understand why undefeated technician Lerone Richards was a clear favourite in their fight, with Woodall's chances estimated at a staggering plus 950. Richards worked calmly and methodically, landing long-range punches to justify his nickname, the Sniper Boss.
And then when he commits, go with it. There was that.
Precise jabs, light left straights to the head or body, and short hooks. This was his simple yet effective strategy. Woodall tried to fight back using similar tactics, throwing jabs and powerful right hands, but Richards saw everything coming and controlled the pace. By the 4th round, the undefeated Brit grew more confident, increased his tempo, and pushed forward without facing serious resistance. It seemed Richards only needed to step up a bit more to make Woodall finally fall apart. But what do we see? Richards rushed in with a reckless attack, and Woodall countered with a brutal right hand, followed by a knockdown. Richards was shocked, the arena was shocked, and even Woodall was shocked. The referee began his count, giving Richards time to recover, but after seeing his shaky legs, the referee wisely stopped the fight. With one single punch, Steed Woodall won a fight he was losing completely and took the number 1 spot as the upset of the year.
Steed Woodall, big right hand from Woodall, rocks Richards.
And that's all for now. Did you enjoy the video? Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Which upset surprised you the most? What upcoming fights could lead to major upsets? Share your thoughts in the comments below.